Give short answers of the following. 1. Who founded the Safavid dynasty? Answer. The Safavid dynasty was founded by Shah Ismail in 1501 CE. 2. What is meant by Janissaries? Answer. The elite battle troops of the Sultan were called Janissaries. 3. When and how was the Seljuk dynasty formed? Answer. The Seljuk Empire was founded in 1037 by Turgral Beg and his brother Chagri Beg. 4. What meant by crusade? Answer. The Crusades were the series of war during the Middle Ages where the Christians of Europe tried to regain control of Jerusalem and Holy Land from the Muslims. 5. Who was Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi? Answer. Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi had become the real master of Egypt and the Fatimid dynasty. Thus, Fatimids were overthrown by Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi and established Ayyubid dynasty.
Q3. Write the answers of the following in detail. 1. Highlight briefly the Seljuk dynasty. Ants. The Seljuk dynasty was founded by Tugril Beg and his brother Chagri Beg in 1037 CE. It was a Turkish dynasty based in central Anatolia. From their homelands near the Aral Sea, the Seljuks advanced first into Khorasan, then into Persia and Anatolia. The Seljuks won the Battle of Manzikert in 1071 CE and conquered most of Anatolia from the Byzantine Empire. This conquest of Seljuk became one of the reasons for the First Crusade 1095 to 1099 CE. It was weakened during the first two Crusades. The Seljuk Empire was invaded by the Mongols around 1194 CE. The Seljuks are regarded as the cultural descendants of the Western Turks. In present days, they were inhabitants of Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Turkmenistan. Contributions of Seljuk rulers. The Seljuk played a major role in medieval history by creating a barrier to Europe against the Mongol invaders from the east, defending the Islamic world against crusaders from the west, and conquering large part of Byzantine Empire under Tugril Beg rule. The Seljuk assumed the leadership of the Islamic world by establishing political mastery over the Abbasid Caliphate in Baghdad. Sultan Arslan became the second ruler of the Great Seljuk Empire in 1063 CE. Sultan Alp Arslan, the Lion-Hearted, opened the gates of Anatolia Turks in 1071 CE by defeating the Byzantine army. He's remembered for his heroism and war strategies. The Seljuk power was at its zenith under Malik Shah I, 1055 to 1082 CE. Although Malik Shah I was the nominal head of the Seljuk state, his vizier, Nizam al-Mulk, 1018 to 1052 CE, held near absolute power during his reign. Malik Shah I spent his reign fighting war against the Karakhanids on the eastern side and establishing order in the Caucasus. Nasiruddin Mahmud I, 1087 to 1094 CE, succeeded Malik Shah I as Sultan, but he did not gain control of the empire built by Malik Shah and Alp Arslan. Mahmud's reign, 1105 to 1118 CE, is recognized for the extensive administrative, military, and social and economic reforms. Tugril III, 1169 to 1194 CE, was the last sultan of the Seljuk Empire. Alauddin Tekish Shah of Khwarezm Empire defeated Tugril III, and the Seljuk Empire collapsed in 1194 CE. Social structure. The Seljuks introduced social and political stability to their conquered territories through union building. They are also remembered as great supporters of Persian culture, art, Saturn, and language. The Seljuk dynasty brought social changes. Anatolia became Islamized. They brought many reforms in religious system. 2. Discuss the social structure of Fatimid dynasty. Answer. Cairo became the most important cultural center in the Islamic world under Fatimids. It was the major production of pottery, glass, metalwork, rock crystal, ivory, wood carving, and textile. Fatimid architecture and architectural decoration played a critical role in Fatimid ceremonial and procession. The great masjid of Mahdiya in Cairo and worth seeing. Fatimid's rule was renowned for tolerance, as Muslims, Christians, and Jews occupied significant public offices appointed purely on merit. Fatimids also appeared to have valued women's contributions, which were almost non existent at that time within the world. They became the economic and cultural center of the region. 3. Write the social structure of Ayyubid dynasty. Answer. Social structure of Ayyubid dynasty. Ayyubid reign was an era of social and economic prosperity. The patronage of the Ayyubids led to a revival in intellectual activity in the Islamic world. In art, the Ayyubids are known especially for their work in inlaid metalwork and ceramics, particularly luster and underglaze painted wares. Ayyubids established religious school, hospital, and introduced public education. Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi and his successors were patrons of the art and sciences. They issue coins of different types. Although Cairo's famous Al-Azhar University was founded by Fatimid dynasty, but it became a leading center for scholarship, eventually gaining the reputation as the premier institute of learning in the Muslim world under the Ayyubids. The Ayyubid dynasty had a transformative effect on the region. The patronage of the Ayyubids led to a revival in intellectual activity in the Islamic world. On the whole, the Arabic culture and language dominated the Ayyubid Empire. 4. Describe the Ottoman dynasty. Answer. Ottoman dynasty, 1299 to 1923 CE. 1. The Ottoman dynasty was founded by Osman I, a leader of Turkish tribes in Anatolia in 1299 CE. Osman expanded his kingdom, uniting many of the independent states of Anatolia under one rule. The Ottoman Turks set up a formal government and expanded their territory. Their important rulers were Osman I, Orhan, Murad I, and Bayezid I. In 1453 CE, Mehmed II the Conqueror led the Ottoman Turks conquered the ancient city of Constantinople, Istanbul, Turkey, the Byzantine Empire's capital. Later, due to successful military campaigns by his successors, the Ottoman expanded their holdings into Byzantine Anatolia and soon also occupied large parts of Balkans. Osman I established the formal government and allowed religious tolerance to the people he conquered, ruling a large portion of the Middle East and Eastern Europe for over 600 years. It was finally dissolved in 1923 CE, becoming the country of Turkey. The leader and administrator of the Ottoman dynasty was called the Sultan. The Sultan's heir was the eldest son. The elite battle troops of the Sultan were called Janissaries. These soldiers were selected from Christian families at a young age. They were considered slaves but were treated well and paid a regular salary. Over the next 150 years, the Ottoman dynasty continued to expand. The most powerful dynasty land at the time was Byzantine in the dynasty Eastern Roman dynasty. In 1453 CE, Mehmed II the Conqueror led the Ottoman dynasty in capturing Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine dynasty. He turned Istanbul into the capital of the Ottoman dynasty and renamed it Istanbul. The Ottoman Ahmad Masjid, also known as Blue Masjid, is an Ottoman era historical imperial masjid located in Istanbul, Turkey. For the next several hundred years, the Ottoman dynasty was one of the largest and most powerful dynasties in the world. The Ottoman dynasty began to decline in the late 16th century CE. It ceased to expand, all began to face economic competition from India and Europe. Internal corruption and unpopular leadership led to a steady decline until Turkey was declared a republic in 1923 CE.
5. Write the main events of Crusades. The Crusades were the series of wars during the Middle Ages
where the Christians of Europe tried to regain control of Jerusalem and the Holy Land from the Muslims. The First Crusade, 1095 to 1099 CE. The First Crusade was a military campaign by Western Europe forces to capture the holy city of Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Muslim control. The Crusaders defeated the Seljuk Turks and took the control of Jerusalem. The Second Crusade, 1147 to 1149 CE. In 1146 CE, the city of Edessa in Greece was conquered by the Turks. Then a second crusade was launched, but was unsuccessful. Sultan Nur-ud-Din Zangi is regarded as an important figure of the Second Crusade. The Third Crusade, 1187 to 1192 CE. In 1187 CE, Sultan Salah-ud-Din Ayyubi recaptured the city of Jerusalem from the Christians. The Third Crusade was led by Emperor Barbarossa of Germany, King Philip Auguste of France, and King Richard the Lionheart of England. Richard the Lionheart fought Salah-ud-Din Ayyubi, Muslim warriors in Palestine for several years, but he failed to conquer Jerusalem. The Fourth Crusade, 1202 to 1204 CE. The Fourth Crusade was a Western European armed expedition originally intended to conquer Muslim-controlled Jerusalem. Pope Innocent III called for the Fourth Crusade to liberate Jerusalem from Muslim rule, but the Crusader armies attacked Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. The sack of Constantinople occurred in 1204 CE, and the Crusader armies captured, looted, and destroyed parts of Constantinople. After the Fourth Crusade, some more Crusade wars were also fought. Q6. Describe the Safavid dynasty. Safavid dynasty 1501 to 1736 CE. The Safavid dynasty was founded by Shah Ismail 1487 to 1524 CE in 1501 CE. Ismail was crowned Shah of Persia at Tabriz. Later, he captured Shiraz, Mesopotamia, and Iraq. He thus became master of Najaf and Karbala. The Safavid dynasty was one of the most significant ruling dynasties of Iran from 1501 to 1736 CE. Shah Ismail was succeeded by his son Shah Tahmasp 1524 to 1576. Tahmasp himself was interested in painting and was good calligrapher. Third, the Safavids controlled all of which is now Iran, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Armenia, parts of Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan, Turkey, Syria, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan, etc.